you have creepy uncles everywhere, but don't worry about it. We're gonna get into it.
Some
Um,
of them are creepier, I think.
I know,
Damn it.
I know. No, trust me. I have definitely had my share, but I think this is like the funniest story for me in like my life. So
I see you.
it's
It's
me.
me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me, Shell bitch.
Hey, gente, welcome back to another week of the It's Me Shell podcast. And remember, my job is to make your road to Friday a lot easier. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are, mi gente. I hope that you're enjoying this Memorial Day weekend. And if you're working, I hope that you're having an awesome day at work. And happy Memorial Day to all the vets and the current soldiers. We appreciate you and, all that you continue to do. And thank you so much for tuning in on this lovely Monday where either you're working or you're barbecuing to tune in to episode 5 of the Funny Gals Talk. Hey, what better way to continue or to start your Memorial Day celebration and to start your week than to listening to yours truly, Michelle S. and JS, talk about shit. And as Roy Jones says, y'all must have forgot because this is what we do, right, Jay? Like we wait till the very end to record an episode.
We're like last minute people, but they're the best, trust me. Like, they're the hard workers. They're just overwhelmed. They're crammed all the time. This is why they're last minute people. And I love this so much.
I know.
Usually they're the best.
You know what? And I think the older I got, the more I accepted who I am. And this is what we do. We're just last minute girls.
All the look, all the time. Like, one of my sister's friends was talking to her like about this guy, okay? And she's like, I found his wife and he's just such a hot guy and blah blah blah. And I found the wife, and my sister's like, girl, there is a skill called husband hunting, and I do not possess it. And I'm very cool with myself, I accept myself for it. And honestly, because yes, I know a lot of my friends who get the best dates ever, who don't fall with creeps like 100% of the time, and who get the best husbands even after, struggles and stuff. My sister and I, like, two idiot like me. Of course, I'm the bigger idiot. Like, the when I have a crush on a
Oh.
guy, I'll be like, "Oh, you suck," and all the stupid verbal diarrhea comes out, and this ruins the whole thing, of course. And my sister is like, I don't know, maybe just she's so professional and so firm, and she doesn't know how to express it like a lot.
Mhm.
I don't know, but for me, I'm totally cool with who I am, even with all the losses.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that because for a long time, okay, so veering off our topic for a little bit, for a long time growing up, I'm always like, well, why don't I feel like I'm a lady sometimes? And sometimes I'm rough and I'm like a procrastinator. And then you try to like work around all these things, but it just doesn't feel natural. So eventually, once I started accepting myself, I'm like, oh, I'm just a cool person. Like this is just who I am. It's
I'm
okay.
awesome. I'm
Right.
awesome. Hello. Why? I have a lot of cool things that other people can do. Can people pull off this thing that you're doing? A podcast and a job and kids and a life? No. Can people be as funny as you are? No. And same goes for
Oh,
Jay. Can people be translator, funny Jay, cool Jay, awesome Jay, translator, brainic Jay? No. So there, everybody has. I don't know. For me, I think a lot of people have, everybody has something that is really up and something that is real down. So for me, I'm a last minute person. I'm just wacko. I'm socially weird. And I just and I say the wrong comedy at the wrong time, probably to the wrong people. So
yeah.
yeah.
I get it. Before I thought I was socially awkward, and then I realized it's so loud out there. New York needs to shut the fuck up right now. right, so since I completely forgot what the fuck I was saying before when all this shit was going on, I'm just gonna keep going. And in case you guys forgot, Jay and I talk about our normal everyday past or present lives because it's basically comedy. And I'll make sure I mention this again for the baddies that are tuning in a little later. But we like to share it with you all. And on this episode, we are talking about the creepy uncle. This is what we're talking about. And for me, so New Yorkers, I mean, I don't want to say just New Yorkers, but we say unk, some of us, like, kind of like a slang term. Like, "Oh, what up, unk?" So this is what we say. So this is what I'm calling it because when you read it, it quickly looks like uck or like yuck. So I think it kind of makes sense visually
Yeah,
to word it this way. What do you think?
awesome.
Right?
Love it. Yeah.
Why not? So, before we get into it, we have to do our mental health check. Mental health check, please. Thank you. So,
I love it.
we have it's like an order is what we do. So, Jay, tell me how you're doing mentally. How's your
I'm in a
health
good place.
mentally?
I'm in a really good place and I'm so happy with it.
Yay. That makes me happy.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
Oh,
I
my
love
love.
that. Jay's in a good place, y'all. I love that. I love that. I am also in a good place. I haven't said anything yet, but you guys will hear it now. I did say it in last week's episode, I submitted a whole bunch of like voice acting auditions and I got a call back for one.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm not sure what the rules are, like releasing like names and stuff like that. It's like it's actually they're podcasters as well. I'm very excited. It is, a small role. Well, for me, it's huge, but I feel like it's just a small role. Um, so
Oh,
it's
wait. Be pretentious like actors. Like, there are no small roles, only small actors.
sorry. You're right.
Damn them.
Fuck that. I one thing I always say, I have not been trained in like the world of arts and acting. That is not my thing. I literally go with the flow. So
But
like
you're the best. You have the best voice, best accents. Come on. You should have done it, like way before. I'm happy that now that you're getting in the podcasting game, maybe it gave you even more inspiration to go out and pursue it. And I totally see you doing it, man. Come
oh,
on. I'm so happy. You've
thank
been born to do
you.
this.
Thank you so much. No, I definitely podcasting definitely opened it up for me, especially being comfortable hearing my voice back when I'm editing and stuff because I used to hate that shit. So definitely opened the doors. I got a lot more comfortable. And honestly, I didn't even know like how to get into it. So this was just really an experience. I don't want to say it was a roller coaster because it's not. It wasn't like that
It's not
detrimental.
a roller.
Oh my god, this
I
was
wish I could say it was a roller coaster, but it's not, Sam.
it was a roller coaster, but we made it.
See, this is something we cannot do. Some people do stupid shit and they just pretend it's the hardest thing in the world and effort they put into it, And we just can't. We're just low key. Like you're doing a lot of cool shit and you're just so good about it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, no, it happened. So I'm very excited for that. So I will give you guys more details as they come, but that is what little me is doing. All right, awesome. So I have been doing a lot of running around and helping out my son, settle in. Got his new apartment. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of me. Yeah, I know. It's about time. My oldest biological son, because I do have a bonus son, he got his own apartment. So I've been running around. We've been doing a lot. We've gone through a lot, but so happy, that everything's good. It's been very overwhelming. Super
That's great to
overwhelming at
hear.
times. I know, I'm so excited. Thank you. But good nonetheless, good news. So mentally, I am super healthy right now. I know. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this week we're talking about creepy uncles because I think we all have one, and at least, or we had one. or we currently do still have, because that's one thing. Sometimes they're still lingering around. You're like, all right, I'm old enough to know you're a creep. So back up. They're still around. But I think that at least everyone I've spoken to has had a story, a run in, or an experience with a creepy uncle. What about you, Jay? Is that the same for you?
You know, how it came to mind when I was just chatting with one of my friends, kind of like a foreign friend, and she told me everybody has a creepy uncle. And I was like, no, I don't. She's like, come on, search, dig deeper, you'll find. And that's when I started reviewing all the uncles that my sister and I had when we were little. And then, oh my, I just told my sister, even because the incident that really sticks to mind happened with my sister. So this was totally like, girl, he was a creep. And we didn't know at the time. So this is how I discovered that.
Really?
Honestly,
But that's usually what it is, because when they're creepy, they're very sneaky about it, you know? Yeah. However, we always add a funny twist to these stories because it wouldn't be us if we didn't. And yes, this is a serious topic. Remember, Jay, I told you I was going to have to make some disclaimers here, but we are sharing our experiences, and this is how we decide to talk about it. So don't come for us. Also, comedy, or maybe I should say humor, is subjective. So fuck you.
no.
That's all.
Sorry to offend, guys, but this is what
Right.
it is. Besides, we're
Exactly.
not just talking about making it light or anything. We're just talking about personal experiences. Like, I know, of course, some stories have really, really darker undertones, but ours are just, like stupid shit. Really, mostly not an aggressive thing, or else we would have taken other measures. And so,
Right.
yeah, just keep in mind this is very low key, very fun, very like balls out.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Mm,
This is why we're
anyhow,
a
baby.
team. This is why we're a team. See, this is what we do. Then we start talking about other shit. We veer off and we're like, oh my God. And then it's like, wait, there's a show going on.
Because we love each other. I think we love each other so much and we're just so comfortable. This is why we veer off topic all the time. It's like, oh girl, did you change their couch?
There's your
Wow.
oh my God, that's so cute. No, but this is literally like a FaceTime. Like we're just
I
FaceTime.
know, I know, I know. And I'm glad people just love it because it's just
Yeah.
us being us. We're not doing anything, like scripted or shit like that.
1,000%. Like this is how we talk. Even when we send DMs to each other, this is exactly how we talk. Like there's absolutely nothing different.
And honestly, girl, I'm just amazed at how we got along so well because I talk to a lot of people, but I don't get along with people as in like intimate and just ask me about health and shit like that. No, not with everybody. So I'm just amazed. Maybe because we're like birds of a feather.
We're kindred spirits.
Yeah, definitely. My perfect baby voice. Can you believe Paris
British.
Hilton has been faking it? I mean, this woman. I used to believe this was her voice, and then I hear it's like, yeah, this is my. Ooh,
Yeah.
what,
She said,
bitch?
remember? She's like, yeah. Oh my gosh. But then when you hear the story and she tells the story as to why she had to like have
Yeah,
this front, I'm just like, oh, honey, you had traumas. It was like a coping mechanism.
exactly. Felt bad for her.
But it is very interesting how now, oh my God. What was it? She used to say this one word. No, that's hot. You remember she used to
And you have the best imitation, girl. Come
She
on.
used to say that all the time. That's all she used to say. Like, oh my gosh, she would walk around with her little puppy and her little bag, and she'd be like, "That's hot." It's like,
Awesome. You're doing it awesome. Yay. That's
thank you.
perfect.
I have to embody Paris Hilton when I
Please, please.
All right, so for this episode, I thought, why not make it Shakespearean in nature, or maybe not Shakespearean per se, but back in those days where people were fucking weird, but like weirder than people are right now, like extra weird. They were usually like, boundaries? What boundaries? What are these boundaries you speak of? That kind of weird. So what do you think? I know we're having some back and forth with this, but what do you think about just that scene? Is that cool?
Coolness. I love it. Let's
All right.
go, babe.
So as always, let's talk rules. Bro, okay, we never follow them. Ever, ever, in every single episode, we never fucking follow the rules, but it's cool to say that we're structured, I promise you. I do feel a sense of accomplishment when I'm like, "Well, I have rules."
Even if I don't follow them.
At all, and I'll be the first one to break my own rules and then get mad and like, "Oh, well, that was me. Cut it out." Right, right. That's hot. So, so
Oh
I
my god.
thought, so I thought we can tell our creepy uncle stories. I guess like a poem or a limerick. I don't know. I'm trying to take it back to these times. Okay, using the words that they used to use in the 17th century on a regular fucking day basis because this is just what they do. And I think it's called archaic, or is it archaic? I'm
I think,
actually,
yeah,
yeah,
archaic, yeah.
archaic language, right?
Yeah, don't come up to our asses linguists. It's
Right.
archaic.
You know what? Isn't that who we be? I we're not we're not linguists, languagists, whether that exists or not. But I figured we can make it like very historical, old fashioned. It doesn't have to be the whole thing because this shit is hard as fuck. As I tried myself, I had to actually write it down. Um, so if you want to start it off and then switch into your regular self and tell your story, that's fine. It's kind of like
You
me
start. You
spank.
start, because then I'll just steal and then add it to my stupid story. Come on, it's like shit. So just you start, and then I'll be like, oh, impressed, and then you present the theme, and
I
me
know.
going veering off topic. Go ahead, babe.
I
After
love it
you,
too.
please.
I know I love it because I'm just like, okay, Jay, so this is what we're gonna do. Meanwhile, I'm like, fuck, can I do it? I don't even know how am I going to accomplish this task that I don't fucking follow the rules. This is what I do. All right,
We
so
are.
now that we got into the rules, like I said before, Jay and I have had many similar experiences in life. And this time, our experiences have brought us together to talk about the creepy uncles in our lives. So I will go first. Excuse me, pardon. Pardon me. All right, I'm going to be serious. I'm going to be serious. Ah, just to let you know, disclaimer, I read this like 3 times to my husband, and he was like, "Huh, that sounds really good."
Awesome. Yes.
So I'm just trying to, I'm trying to set the mood for y'all, so don't come for me. I tried my best. All right.
Why come for her?
I
She's
know.
good. Come
Thank
on.
you. Thou's unc was a weird old fella. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
Here, here. For he wasn't thy unc or thine unc, but he sure was a regular. He would hang around the children as in providing protection, but thou was told by thy mother and father to use the power of detection. I feel like I'm fine to spell. Like
You're cursing the damn god awful power. Yeah, do it.
For thy unc had a weird little history, but it was kept a complete mystery.
Oh.
Until that dreadful morrow, Unc decided to act. 'Tis was the last time Unc was seen after that.
Oh. I damn. I love it. Feels like out of a oh my god, it feels like out of an old book that I read sometime. Wow. Damn it. Feels creepy
Right,
enough.
right.
What did this old hag do?
I
Come
know.
on.
So, long story short, to tell the story very quickly, in terms that humanoids can understand. So, growing up, we had this neighbor. He used to live on the 4th floor, and he wasn't family, but he would always tell us, like, "You can call me uncle." And back in those days, like the 90s and stuff like that, when you grew up, you were like, the community was very family based, right? Everybody
Yeah.
in the community was kind of like always watching over the children, making sure everybody was good. Neighbors always took care of each other. So that's how it was for us growing up. So I guess he kind of took that, into consideration, or took advantage of that and was like, "No, no, no, you can call me uncle." Right, right.
Used it to his own damn benefit.
Ex- Motherfucker.
Let me take care of the kids. This is how I felt it.
I love the children.
Oh.
Yeah. That's exactly what he did. But he used to be like, "Oh, you can call me uncle, whatever you need. If I ever see you outside, you need some money, you need some chump change, let me know. I'm here to take care of you. I love your mother, I love your father. Right? Okay, fine." So, um, we would, we would see him out and about all the time. His wife, actually, him and his wife used to fight all the time, like arguing. She always kicked him out the house. So it was very interesting because he was always like, "I'm your uncle," but his wife would be like, "Get out, you're a scumbag, like I hate you," whatever. Yeah, they were always like very, very, trigger warning, very verbally abusive to each other. And who knows what the hell happens, behind closed doors.
Mm.
It is what it is. But he was always like that aggressor, that aggressive type. So when he would come up to us like, "Oh, I'm your uncle," he used to have like this really like scratchy, loud voice. He was very intimidating. So I'm just like, "Okay, okay, yep,
Yeah,
okay,
you're my uncle.
yeah,
Just leave me alone.
okay, fine. You fucking said that 300 times. You're my fucking uncle. I get
Oh,
it." But then I realized I'm like, "Oh, repetition is key because that's how people learn." You know what I mean? Like he kept saying, "Oh, you're my uncle. You're my uncle. Oh, I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle." So we can kind of like, exactly.
yes.
Right. So, he had 2 children of his own, by the way, that we always hung out with, 2 boys. They were cute, and we used to tussle. We were young, so we would be like, "Oh, get out of here." We were like fight or whatever. So they were
Yeah.
really cute, but he would get like really, really, really upset at his sons if like we were playing around or roughhousing or whatever, to the point where I'm just like, "Calm down. It's fine. Like I don't even want to play here anymore. I want to leave." So whatever. Like he just had a very weird way about him because it wasn't even aggressive, like he was teaching his kids a lesson or teaching them something. It was just like, "Dude, you're way too angry at your 2 sons for absolutely no reason, like, we're just playing around, it's totally cool."
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so fast forward, I'm a teenager, I wanna say I'm, like, 13, yeah, like, about 13, maybe 14 years old. I'm at home, the phone rings, and it's him, and he's just like, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing great, how are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm fine." So typically, I will give you a little bit of a backstory because, for all my New Yorkers that aren't listening, a New Yorker who answers the phone and doesn't know who it is on their caller ID, you get a little aggressive. So I remember when he called, I didn't recognize the number. And when I answered, I said, "Yo, what up?" Like it was kind of disgusting.
Damn, this is my dad. Like we have a caller ID for this particular reason. He doesn't answer if he doesn't know who is calling. Like, no, we don't care. That it could be an emergency. To hell,
Right.
So you get the vibe from you guys.
Right. So as soon as he called, I didn't recognize the number. I'm like, "Yo, what up? Who this?" Like aggressive. And he was like, "Oh my god, it's me, your uncle." I'm like, "Homie, you are not my," because now I'm older. And I'm like, "Homie, you are not, you're not Theo. Calm down.
Stop.
Calm down." I just got very Bronx. But already like on the phone, I was just like, "Ew, why is he calling?" If because I already told him like my mom and my dad are at home. But he's still talking. I'm like, "This is awkward." But then he asks me again, "Hey, is your mom home?" I said, "No, she's not here." "Is your dad home?" Mind you, my dad hasn't been home. Now, if I'm like 13 or 14, that'll be like either 3 or 4 years my dad hasn't even been living with us. So I'm just like, "No, my dad isn't
What a
home." Like,
bitch.
right, everybody knew that too. I'm just like,
Fuck you, uncle.
right. I'm like,
Oh,
"No, he's not home. Where are you getting at?" Right? So he's like, "Oh my gosh, I need to go over because I'm just gonna go over there and wait for your I really have to talk to your mom. I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna go talk to her." But I said, "But she's not here." So he's like, "Well, no, I'm gonna like sit there and I'm gonna wait." I said, "You ain't waiting in my house." Like
not on my watch, bitch.
y- facts. I was like, "You're not coming to my house." He's like, "No, no, no. I'm so close. I will be right there. I'm just gonna sit there and wait for your mom. And I have to use the bathroom anyway."
Ew.
I know. So I'm just
And
like,
you're here to sit in my house. No,
talk about cringe.
I know.
And I was like, all right. And as much as I hate using this term, red flags were like, bing, 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 bing.
You
I'm
know
just
that
like,
Quentin Tarantino? I wish you had it. Like, well, Kill
yeah,
Bill.
that's
This
my
is
favorite.
what I feel with people.
That is my
Definitely, it
favorite.
went off in your head.
I think the closest thing I have to that is this.
scared already.
But that's how I felt, and I'm just like, "All right, well, I'm safe at home." You know what I mean? As long as I don't open the door, I'm safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm okay. So I'm like, "Well, my mom isn't home, you can't come over." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be right there," and just hangs up. So I'm like, "What? This bitch got the last word?" So I'm already upset. Like, I'm already kind of getting into my head, like, and like fight or flight, but more like the fight, like, "Oh, I wanna punch him in the face because, like, how dare you have the last word? This is my house." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I start making calls. I call everyone and I'm like, "Oh my god, somebody's coming over. Oh my god, somebody's coming over." Finally, my mom picks up the phone and she's like, "What? Why is he coming over?" I said, "I don't know, mom. I told him you weren't here." Now, I'm not going to say this was a mistake, but one of the things I did do was call my dad. And my father, you remember, mental health check, please. Thank you. Yeah, my dad, he just was very, 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 very aggressive. Like,
Mm.
yeah, very aggressive. To the point where there were times where I'm like, okay, I don't want to really tell my dad certain things because I just don't want to get him upset and riled up because, he gets tunnel vision. He's just like, "Rah," he like really hulks out.
Yeah.
So,
My dad was
um,
kind of a jackass too when he was young, but now he had the redemption arc like the movies, so I get. He's like the retired De Niro. Now he's an old man sitting in the corner. But back
you know
then he
what?
was kind of a bitch, yeah.
You know what? De Niro had a kid though. He's 79.
I know what I mean, hello.
Ah,
Maybe my dad has one hiding in the corner. I'll get to you.
as he says, "You're good, you." Oh, man. Shout out De Niro, we love you. But yes, so I called my dad, and my dad calls me back, and he's like, "What's going on?" I tell him what's going on, and most certainly got this from my dad. He gets, like, very quiet, very still, and he's just like, "Okay, honey, just don't open the door." And I'm like, "Oh, this is a weird reaction." Well, everybody's, like, heightened. He's just like, "Just don't open the door, it's fine." I said, "Okay, dad, fine." I'm sitting there staring at the door with the phone in my hand like a fucking horror movie. Then, thum, 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 he knocks on the door, and I'm just like, "Fuck." I'm like, "Who is it?" He goes, "Open the door, it's me, I gotta pee, let me in, please." I said, "Bitch, you
Pee
ain't
corner.
coming in."
Get out and pee somewhere else, bitch.
I said, "You better go back outside and find a corner to pee in." He's, "No, no, no, come on, I gotta use the bathroom, come on, really gotta pee." No, you don't. If you really had to pee, you would have done it before you got here. Because where were you before you got here? No, it's not. So literally 5 minutes because nobody was home yet. So I had called my mom. She's like, "I'm on my way." My dad was just like, "Don't open the door." So I didn't even know that he was going to show up. And, a lot of the neighbors I told them to, they were like, "That's weird." So, they were kind of, it was a summer day. I think a summer afternoon. So everybody was kind of like out. So I would sit there like it felt like a lifetime, but it was like 10 minutes. It felt like 45 minutes where I'm sitting there and he's still out the door, but he's like begging, like, "Come on, please." And then I would think he'll leave. And I'd be like, "Are you there? Are you looking through the people?" I'm like, "Oh my fucking gosh,
What?
this guy is fucking wild." Yeah. So I was just like, okay, finally, all I hear. So I hear silence, and then I hear like somebody fell down the stairs. So I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh my god, maybe he got hurt," because, like, I'm still a kid,
I
you know?
know.
Right.
Thank God kids these days are bitches.
Yeah,
They don't
right,
care. I'm happy for them.
right. So I was just like, "Damn, maybe he fell down the stairs." And then 5 seconds later, I hear screaming, but the screaming is, like, traveling from the lobby, from the first floor of my apartment to outside. So if you're from New York, everybody knows when there's drama, you go to the fucking fire escape. You look outside, especially if your building's facing the front, you go to the fire escape, you go see what the drama is. You know how many times I got in trouble fucking bitches looking out the fire escape like, "Oh, I saw Michelle doing, ah." I'm like, "Oh my god. Stop fucking the snipers are fucking, oh my god, like, stop telling on me." So I ran to the fire escape, and when I looked at the fire, mind you, just so you know, the fire escape is the source of news. Whatever's going on the block. I think this is why I'm like, "All right, reporting live from the fire escape in the Bronx."
Oh my goodness.
Dominican man drags other Dominican man out the building. Back to you, Jay. Like, it was crazy. So my dad had dragged him. My dad got to the building first, dragged him outside, and pounded him out. Like, there were times where I think I was screaming, and then I would yell at myself, like, "Why are you screaming?" Like, he was, being creepy. So this is what he gets. This is what he deserves. So up
Better.
but, but I felt bad because just like, you don't wanna see other people getting hurt. I don't think that's to me, that's not fun to see. So I'm just
It's
like,
not,
"Daddy,"
yeah.
right, so I'm like,
Worse.
"Daddy," right, so I'm like, "Daddy, no, daddy, stop it, no, dad, and he's
You
just
are just calling to your dad.
right,
Really?
and
Oh
no,
my
but, like, I'm yelling at him from the fire escape, and he's downstairs, and he's just, like, pounding him out, and then he throws him in his car. He open he opens the door to the creepy uncle's car. He throws him in the car, and he says, "Drive away and never come back." He's like, "If you come back, I'll do more than just beat the shit out of you."
my God, Liam Neeson style. I will find you. Ooh.
I have a particular set of skills.
Oh wow.
Right, and I never saw him again. Mind you, that was supposed to be, like, a really short version. I feel like I dragged it out.
I love
I
it.
went a little
It was so
longer.
suspenseful. I was like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
CA.
Right, but honestly, I felt like we were negotiating through the door. It was pretty petrifying. He was just like, "Well, just let me in. I just have to pee. Come on, like your mom didn't raise you this way." Like he was using all these really creepy tactics.
One of the things that make us as women victims and vulnerable is being forced into niceness and politeness.
Right.
No, 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 no. You can be impolite, you can be rude when you feel that you are threatened, no matter who is on the other side. Please. I've been in
Yes.
this a couple of times.
Oh, Jay, I love that because that is very true.
That's true.
Yeah, they kind of force feed you be nice and this I mean, I'm not going to say feminism is wrong. Being feminine is great. But there's certain times where and this is why I think it's important to have a male figure in the home because this is the time where the male figure will be like, "Okay, this looks creepy. This is how you respond." If you
Exactly.
feel, you feel like your aura is being messed with, you have a funny feeling in your gut, always follow your gut. You know what I mean? And I feel like women sometimes don't come from me. These are our experiences, but women, we're looked at like, okay, you have to be nice, you have to be polite, you have to mind your manners, you can't be disrespectful, don't use foul, disgusting, derogatory language. But sometimes being loud when somebody's trying to hurt you and you know that being loud is what gets attention from everybody else, is kind of what saves you most of the
And
time because you're being loud.
I don't want to be dark or anything, but sometimes this saves women and does not like I've known women who have been victims to horrible things because they accepted something from someone they didn't like. They overstayed when they felt like they should rush and
Right.
follow the adrenaline. So please listen to whatever. Don't let anyone trap you into that. Like if you feel like you want to be a bitch. As long as you're not doing it to like an 80-year-old crossing the street. You're doing it to someone who
Right.
is threatening your space,
Right.
trying to overstay or to just cross a boundary that you've set. So I'm just so happy that you followed your instincts of being strong and being like you held your ground. Like, no, I don't care. My
Oh,
mom raised me to stand up for myself, so kudos.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, my moral goes only because I have children. So my moral is like simply just protect your children. If there's someone, if you have to warn, and this is how I think about this. If people are coming over, right? Family, friends, because once you consider people friends and they come over to your children's space, to me, that's a big thing because you're sharing your space with the most vulnerable. You have to protect these kitties. So if you have to tell your kids, like, oh my gosh, just be careful because so and so is coming. So that already is a red flag. You know what I mean? Because subconsciously you already feel uncomfortable about this person that's coming over. So maybe you have to kind of weigh your options, like look at the reasoning behind why do you feel uncomfortable, because sometimes it's not right in front of your face, but it could just be subconsciously. You don't want to have to warn the children, oh, somebody's coming over, make sure you don't want to have to do that. So again, there's something subconsciously saying there's a red flag. And like I said, I hate using that fucking term, but if the back of your brain is telling you there is something not right about this person, just listen to it. That's it.
Definitely,
That's my
definitely.
moral.
Yes, what a moral.
No, thank you. Thank you. No, but I like yours too. Absolutely, girl.
Thanks, babe, but I feel like this your story brought in, and also to just chime in, all these stories that we've been fed when we were kids, like the Three Little Pigs, Red Riding Hood, they're totally true. Like some strangers give up the worst vibes. Don't trust someone knocking at your door when you're walking. Try to avoid people you feel are not giving you enough safety. And always, I think when you're in a good relationship with the people around you or your family or whatever, your feelings will be tuned perfectly. Like I know this because when I was gaslit, my gut feeling was kind of like turned off. I couldn't make out if people were good or bad. It just felt everything was fucked up, as if like all the wires in the system were screwed.
Yeah.
So now that I'm back to being myself, I can tell if I like the person, if I don't like a person is giving me vibes that I'm safe or not. So always trust these feelings.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. All right, Jay. So it is your turn to tell us your Victorian-esque story.
Sergio.
Just hit me with some 17th century shit. I don't even.
God, I wish I could just say any. Look, I'll borrow it from this story. Okay, there's this story sang by AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys. He used to kind of like woo girls with it. So I'm just gonna use his storytelling techniques to tell a short hint of our mind. Sorry, AJ, if you're listening anywhere in the world, we're just ripping you off a little bit. Okay,
AJ, we love. I want it that
that way.
way. Tell
Isn't he the best?
me
Ain't nothing.
why. That's hot. All right.
Come on, girl. You gotta use these skills in the
All
voice
right.
acting business.
I'm gonna let you do your thing. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Okay. So, many moons ago, in a far off place, lived an uncle with a gloomy face. Oh, he didn't have hair, alas, but he put this hair, alas, to cover up whatever blank space he has. This uncle lived in a castle far away from peoples. Unbeknownst to anybody, he had a story to tell with the two girls from the Salah family. So let's open our ears and listen to what they have to say. So,
Bitch, that was girl. What you mean? He was like, "Oh, I don't have anything." I'm listening. I'm like, "Wait, I know exactly where this is going." That was great. Okay. Tell your story. All right.
okay, so in our family, there is this distant relative whom everybody just hated. People didn't like him. He wasn't socially really fun and all. In every family gathering, he'd be sitting in a corner. He was always sour, had this face, didn't really like other people, only his wife and kids and stuff like that. And he really looked like, these men who didn't have sense of style, but they would just overdo it. Like he was going bald, my love, and he would just take parts of his hair and kind of like use gel to make it cover the bald. So it made him look worse, and everybody knew it. He had these glasses, ancient glasses, and he was French raised, so he'd always say like things like "Parlez en français," and people would be like, oh, "Bitch," like people would be like, "Oh yeah, loser."
Oh,
And-
I'm sorry.
yeah, exactly. And he would exactement since he's French. And people would be like, and all the dudes would be like, chilling and stuff, and he would just talk in it. And he had this tone, it's like, that didn't make it any better. And it's like, you know what? We should get to the restroom or something like that. And people would be like, yeah, right. All the guys in our family and stuff. So he didn't talk to anybody, and he just like all the kids. If a kid, like just ran and passed by, and he'd be like cleaning his trousers and whatever, and just asking for his jute, not tea, and just giving everybody like stuff like that. And the only person he really talked to, who my 5-year old sister, and my 5-year old sister was like insane, man. She was crazy kids who are like talking about aliens and spaceships and just laughing in the middle of nowhere and just like sticking their boogers to make other people disgusted and stuff. This was my sister, mind you. Now she's just like this elegant sales expert working in corporation, but as a kid she was just snot nosed, like chocolate and shit like that. She would go and tell him all these crazy ass stories about a lion that ate wheat or ate, like grains. The lion that ate grains went out there, and you know what the lion did? He loves to eat grains. and I would see the motherfucker interested in her story insanely. Like, what is your problem? And he would tell her, come and sit on my lap. I
Oh,
want to hear more about this story. And she would just jump and like give him, like kicks and punch him, and he'd be very happy, even screwing up his fucked up already hair. All the hair is left. And he'd be so cool with it. And people would be like, okay, maybe he has a way with kids. Although he was kind of shitty to his kids too. Until that one time when he was holding burning, scalding hot tea. And she was just telling him, and this, like Lion was out there eating the greens and having a good time, and then, whoa! And she kind of like kicked the cup out of his hand. Scalding hot tea falls on his balls, man. And he screams in agony. And Mama kind of like pulled her and like, why did you do this? Hey, you're respectful. And she's like apologizing to the guy, and the guy doesn't even look like irritated. Can you believe the motherfucker? He's actually, I don't know. And at the time, all we did was like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, he doesn't like anybody, and he likes he likes you. She's like, I know, right? She doesn't give a shit. She just wants to tell him all the stupid, crazy stories.
yeah.
And now, when my throwback years later, like after this incident, I don't think he came to the family gatherings often because he looked like you could see through his pants, man. The hot tea gave you like this idea of how big his bulge was or not. So he steered away from the family gatherings for good. And I
Mhm.
think he didn't even meet my sister until later, where he became even a more respectful Frenchman. And I'd be like, hi, hi, hello. And then when my friend told me that, I thought my sister was like, man, this guy was creepy, wasn't he? Why was he interested in you? Oh shit, motherfucker. And nobody even doubted him because he had all the French men, like persona in the front. So nobody would even think that he was creepy. And the way he was like, come and sit and tell me the stories. Maybe he was trying to think of something, and then like the things that are protecting kids made her give him the like scolding hot tea treatment, and that
Right.
kind of like stopped him for good. Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah. And you said she was 5.
yes.
Yeah. So definitely she was probably like, listen, I know you trying to start something, but there won't be nothing. Splash,
Kaboom.
3rd-degree burns.
Yes. Like the best.
Enchanté, mon chéri. Oui, oui. I don't know. A couple of French words and then never to be seen again. Holy shit. Okay, that's weird for a couple of things. So I guess, I mean, I want to ask you, do you think or have you always heard the term like don't ever sit on like a guy's lap when you were a kid? Like don't sit on anybody's lap. I don't care who it is, girl, boy, or man or woman. Don't sit on their lap.
This
Have
is
you ever
happening now, but like back when we were young and it was like Egypt in the 90s and 80s, nobody doubted anybody. The terms of like child abuse and like pedophilia, they weren't even familiar to normal people. So you have uncles like hugging you and kissing you and telling you to sit on their laps. This is the thing. Now kids nowadays, they're more aware. Parents nowadays are more aware, but in the past it wasn't that familiar. People really trusted each other. People thought like all old people are good. This is
Yeah.
family. Nobody would harm anybody. But then when you just look at things in retrospective, no, it wasn't that good. But
Really?
but parents weren't aware and families weren't aware. This is why.
Oh, I see. So growing up, I used to hear that all the time. Like, don't you dare sit on anybody's lap. Don't, if they say, hey, come sit on my lap, you don't do it.
Yeah,
Like, that's not what you're going to do. Don't do that.
yeah.
I'm like, okay. So for me, I don't even know. I guess the moral of the story is if you feel somebody's being weird and they have a hot, scalding cup of tea, spill that bitch.
Yes, and aim it. Don't you dare not aim it. Aim it.
Spill that bitch because,
Leave your mark on them. I
right.
told you this is the Alexandrian way. Like I'll leave a mark on you.
Damn. Does your sister talk about this story at all, or does she like think about it ever?
Never. She's like, now that she's talking to me, she's like, oh my god, I know he was crazy, wasn't he? But he's as if he's evaporated from her memory. It wasn't only
Mm.
until I told her about it, she's like, oh my god, shit, yeah, but I got him good.
It's like, "Oh, shit, I remember that."
Yeah, I got him good, didn't I? Like, yeah, you did, you did.
Good job, sis. Good job. Yeah, I don't understand people being creepy. And I feel okay, so like getting serious about it, I know that at least a lot of the stories I've heard is always of the creepy uncle, but instead of doing something about it, instead of saying you can't come to these family functions, you can't be around our children, you can't do X, Y, and Z, it's more like you have to put it on the kids and be like, just be careful with that one over there, be careful with this one over there. It's like, no, that's unfair. They're here to have fun, they're here to be free, they're here to be children.
Right.
Why do they have to be the ones to be vigilant? And no, you as the parent, be vigilant. As the adult, be vigilant. Say no, you guys, you people cannot come in here because we have to protect our kids. So,
Definitely.
right, very interesting. Interesting. Mi gente, we have reached the end of Funny Gals Talk. But before we go, Jay, you got to let them know where to find you, girl.
I think I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Jaylan Salman, and I also have my YouTube channel where I have the J Days series going on. Also on Twitter, I think the channel is the same, Jaylan Salman. You'll just find me, and it's called the J Days if you want to look it up.
Yeah, the J Days. I told you I'm obsessed. The J Days.
Yay!
Yeah, and they're so you. And every time we talk about the J Days, they're so you. They embody. I mean, they're called the J Days. So if it wasn't like you, then I'd be like, all right, girl, we got to talk about
Yeah,
me.
yes.
But they're definitely totally you. And now it's my turn to say a whole bunch of shit. So you heard of me, gente. Make sure you go ahead and follow her. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And make sure you tune in next month to Funny Gals Talk. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but Funny Gals are going to be talking. So we're going to figure that out. And make sure you subscribe to the It's Me Shell podcast on YouTube. You can tune into regular scheduled podcast programming. I always do that to myself, but I feel like the more I say it, the better I get. And I think I'm going to have a new episode next week, which will be, I think, the first week of June. It's fucking summer, y'all. Oh my God. Jay, I can't tell you how much I detest summer in the city.
I know, because summer I think is better when you're by the sea. Like if there was a way I could stay by the sea all summer, please, please,
Ugh,
if
it's
you're
cold.
listening.
Right. Please, please. Yeah, I can't fucking stand it. But anyway, so I think there's going to be a snippet of this episode on the new Patreon page. Yes, I'm very excited. Like I said before, this page is going to be super unfiltered. It'll definitely be unscripted because it'll be like all the behind the scenes stuff. So definitely send you guys the information so you guys can tune in, subscribe, all that good stuff. They're fucking loud out there. I'm telling you, this loud behavior New York is giving me today. It's pissing me all the way off. All right, y'all. So I want to remind you to make sure you go follow me on Instagram at itsmi.chelle. Click the link in the bio. It'll take you to podcast platforms and so much more. And I think that's it. Don't forget to send us emails, DM us, send us voice messages telling us your story if you want us to, make fun of it, do something funny with it, make light of it. We're definitely going to do it. Anything else, Jay?
Oh, thank you, baby.
All right. With that said, peace and love. We out. That's hot.
I see you. It's me. 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 Shell, bitch.